Happening right now, friends light candles in tribute to a woman who drowned today in Madison County. Authorities say Delores Johnson slipped from an inner tube near Hot Springs and disappeared. Delores was with a friend, but he wasn't able to save her.
News 13's Frank Crocker's live in Hot Springs with tonight's top story. Frank, do we know much about the victim?
Well, Delores was in her 40s, developmentally disabled. She lived in the Mintz Family Care Home, but spent much of her time walking around downtown. People say she was always smiling, waving, saying hello, and that they're going to miss her. It was a beautiful day in the mountains of Madison County. Authorities say Delores Johnson and a male friend, also developmentally disabled, put their inner tube into Spring Creek and started floating toward the French Broad.
They played in the Spring Creek since the weather had warmed up and the water had gotten warm. But today the current carried them down into the French Broad River where the current was unforgiving.
Officials say Johnson somehow slipped and the inner tube overturned. Her friend tells them she went under. He lost sight of her and made his way to shore to find help. But it was an hour after the 911 call came that a frantic search turned tragic. Johnson's body was recovered about a half-mile downstream.
She's part of the heart of the town, kind of. Everybody knew her.
Linda Carroll is one of many locals who will tell you about Delores Johnson, a friend to all, young and old.
Honestly, I don't know what I'm going to go home and tell my kiddo. She's almost 8 now, and she loved coming down here because she knew Delores would be, "Hey, Violet, how are you?" And they would sit down and have a talk.
Delores Johnson grew up in Madison County, the Laurel community, and Linda Carroll says was no stranger to the ways of the French Broad.
Everybody who lives here knows the river. They know the creek, they know the river, and I figure they just ran into rougher water than they were expecting for a day like today.
Authorities have not identified the person who was out on the river with Delores. They say the two were friends, spent quite a bit of time together, and that he is obviously distraught about what happened today. Reporting live in Hot Springs, Frank Crocker, News 13.